This video was made during the pre-order beta and could contain spoilers. If you do not want the game spoiled, do not watch the video. Hello fellow gamers. Today I am going to be talking to you about Darktide, more specifically the video settings and how to maximize your frame rate without suffering too much quality. Guys, I'm going to show you exactly what video settings I use to run my game from 70 to 100 FPS in 2K quality while recording. Without any further ado, let's get right into it. So right off the bat, I just want to briefly mention my hardware. I have an NVIDIA 3070 graphics card, and then I have a Ryzen 7 5800X CPU. So pretty good two pieces of hardware there. As far as the settings go, first thing you're going to want to do is pick your resolution. This 2560x1440, that's 2K quality, right? So I use this because it's kind of everything I do, right? I record in this quality, I stream in this quality. It looks really good on YouTube. Most people are probably going to run in 1920x1080, that's 1080p. Simply lowering it from 2K to 1080 on its own is going to give you a pretty significant FPS boost on its own. So, maybe try both those resolutions out, whatever you feel. But pick your resolution and then go down to screen mode here and put it into full screen. Running your game in full screen allows your computer to prioritize that program, in this case Darktide, over other programs, right? So it's going to divert majority of its power to the game. So you're going to get a bigger performance boost than if you were to use borderless full screen or windowed, because it's not dedicating itself to that program as much. So full screen here. VSync I leave off because it can cause some input issues, and I don't get tearing issues personally. If you do have really bad tearing, maybe consider putting it on, but I don't want the input problems, so I don't even mess with that. Brightness is really just a personal preference. It doesn't really affect performance too much. And this is the part where this is going to be more for NVIDIA graphics cards than AMD graphics cards. I have an NVIDIA, I don't have an AMD. I know very little about AMD graphics cards. I know a little bit about NVIDIA's and how they work. For performance, you're absolutely going to want to turn on NVIDIA DLSS. It's an AI that provides high frame rates without compromising responsiveness or quality. You of course have to have a GeForce RTX graphics card to make this work. However, you can then adjust your quality and / performance selections below. Whatever you do, really don't do automatic. Ultra performance is going to be like the best performance, but like the lowest quality, so on and so forth. Personally, if you care about how the game looks as much as I do, I'd go for either quality or balanced. Those are the two that look the best, and even running just quality like I do is still going to give you a decent FPS boost while making your game look nice over not having DLSS on. NVIDIA Reflex low latency will have a very small performance hit, but it's nice to not have latency, right, when your responsiveness of your attacks and stuff like that. So definitely put this on. Frame rate cap, I leave mine to unlimited. I do this because with programs like MSI Afterburner, you can kind of boost your GPU a little bit, let it use more voltage, overclock, all that kind of stuff. I have it set up where it can draw just like a little bit more power. I get just a small bump in performance, nothing crazy. But you can't do that if the frame rate's capped, so I would leave it on unlimited if you're doing anything like that. If you're having major like frame drop issues, like and then shooting back up like crazy stuttering like that, I would cap it at like 60 or something like that. And then you don't need to mess with the super resolutions here because we have DLSS going. If you have an AMD card, probably fiddle around with 1.0 here, as you can have the same kind of selections that you do with DLSS. It's just not going to look quite as good, even on ultra quality, but you will gain performance that way. Sharpen, I just leave it on. I know it's normally meant to be used with like TAA and anti-aliasing. I just think it cleans up the edges a little bit and doesn't really take a big hit on performance on its own. I would go ahead and leave it on. Anti-aliasing we don't need because we have DLSS going with Sharpen, which is kind of nice. Down here, ray tracing, anything with ray tracing, just turn it off. Seriously, like all it does is, nice admittedly good like features with reflection, shadows, lighting, all that kind of stuff, but they're minor details, and then they honestly cut your frame rate in half. Turn them all off. Your graphics quality, it's gonna automatically set to custom when we start fiddling around down here, so don't even worry about that. Advanced graphics, ambient occlusion quality, you have the option to turn this off, which you can do if you're really starving for FPS. However, if you like effects like shadows and like SSAO type stuff, which I think makes the game look really nice, go ahead and put it on low. You know, I don't think this setting really needs to be over low at any point. Low looks perfect on my game. I really like the way it looks. But of course, if you're really trying to get as much frames as possible, you can turn it off. Everything else here, light quality, low. Volumetric fog quality, low. Depth of field, turn it off. That's going to help your FPS quite a bit. Global illumination, sometimes this gets set to high, like on its own. Go to low. Why not? Bloom, I like the way Bloom looks with lighting and stuff, so I just leave it on. But everything else, motion blur is disgusting. Turn it off. Skin subsurface scattering, turn it off. You don't need that stuff, especially if you're trying to get FPS. Green space, reflections, who cares? Turn it off. Lens quality, color fringe and distortion, all off. Lens flares, off. Scatter density, lowest. Max ragdolls, 3. Max weapon impact decals, 5. Blood decals, 5. Decal lifetime, 10. All these are the lowest possible setting, and I think the game still looks fine, even just like this. Having them higher could cause FPS issues. Gore settings, I have everything off except for ragdoll interaction, because I think it's funny to, like, you know, move the corpses a little bit and like kind of just smack them around. But of course you don't need to have this on, you can definitely turn it off. And that's it, guys. These are the settings I use. I am able to record in 2K quality at 70 to 100 FPS pretty much all the time. And the game looks really good. As you can see, you know, my game looks pretty good, and I can just run around the Morningstar right now. I'm at about 100 FPS. 98, 96, you know, looks pretty good. And I have most of the settings turned off. Go figure. If you like this video, feel free to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Leave a like, leave a comment, let me know if this guide helps you out at all, what settings you think are important or not, if you want to discuss that kind of thing. I also have a Discord with over 2,000 Vermintiders and Darktiders in there, link in the description down below. Come on and join us and play some Darktide. Later guys, see you in the next video.